So it's mostly about being able to be adaptable. That's the key part there, is to be able to change on the fly. So we have a lot of different things that we combine to in the Navy and the combat systems. So if I can be adaptable, I can take new technology as it comes out. So it's all about being able to bring in new technology as quickly as possible to support the sailors and the Marines. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense, because in the day and age we live in, you do have to be adaptable. And so the more you know and the more you can be, the more that works.
Right. I mean, an analogous to that in the real world is your smart homes. You know, used to you had to have a dedicated system, but now they can enter your cameras, your echoes, your garage door opener, your refrigerator. It can all be connected. So people are connecting things at paces and things that, you know, I didn't dream of when I went to school 30 plus years ago.
That's the amazing thing, the technology, the things that you mentioned. The fact that we can do that kind of stuff. It's exciting. It's a little bit scary too.
It is a little scary, but just think of how now your refrigerator and your microwave and your stove and your garage door and your doors all talk together and can order stuff. You're like, hey, you're out of eggs in the fridge or whatever. Well, now we're trying to combine as many things as possible to optimize our capabilities for our Navy ships and for our sailors, be able to do the missions that they're called upon. So be able to be adaptable, to be able to take on new systems as they get developed is really key to this.
So let's talk about this challenge.
This one is primarily targeted toward industry, although universities could have participated on it. So small business, big business, anybody that has new and creative ideas to deal with the challenge.
So what is the challenge?
So the challenge is basically centered around radars. Radars help us navigate ships and get in and out so we don't run into things and be able to see what's out there. So we use the simple example of a navigation radar to be able to tell where everything's out. But I'm going to give you four. The messages are different. Some people do it in lat long, some people do it in reference to the ship, so they have different ways of tracking objects. So if somebody comes out with a new radar and it has a new interface, sometimes that takes us years, months, and lots of over $1 million sometimes to integrate that new interface. So what we did, we gave 3 radars to these vendors. They're currently in phase 2. And they have to convert it to one standard that the combat system can to understand.
Yeah.
So they have to convert that for us. And then in phase 3, they come in, they brief the results, and then they get a new one. And all they get is ones and zeros and an answer key. And they got to figure out techniques like machine learning, but not only to figure out, well, what do these ones and zeros relate to the standard? And then they get another scenario, and then they have to give us an answer within less than 24 hours. So if in less than 24 hours they can do this, and we can adapt things in to ships in less than 24 hours, that's powerful. You just think of what goes on in Ukraine and other places today, how quickly the battlefront is changing.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that would be really key for the Navy.
Well, this challenge, not only there's a monetary benefit to this, but also, like you said, the benefit for the Navy in this is huge.
Right. I mean, there's a $250,000 award to the winner that does the best. Also, it's over $1 billion industry to deal with combat systems and the warfighting capability put on the ships. So there's a lot of future growth, and not just for the Navy. If people can adapt interfaces just like they're adapting data, then, you know, it's not just limited to the Navy. You know, it can have a lot of different applications as well as commercial applications. We have over 18 companies that are involved right now in the phase 2, and they're from all over the country, from California up the East Coast. Small businesses that are local, large businesses. So, you know, we've been very fortunate to get a lot of people interested in this challenge, which has stretched us a little bit to make sure we can accommodate them all, but it's really helped our workforce to understand the environment that's out there, what we can do.
It's interesting. It's not just a big company that qualifies for this. It could be a small company.
It could be a very small company. And in today's technology, you see small businesses have the innovative ideas. A lot of times, the bigger businesses, just like big government, get caught up in their own way sometimes to be very innovative. But we have big companies. We're more than happy, and they're working hard to meet this challenge as well.
So you mentioned a white paper. What's been the process to get to November 1st?
Well, to get to November 1st, there were basically 3 phases. The first phase was they had to just write a few-page white paper on how they would go about solving the problem that I just described to you earlier. And so we had a group of companies that submitted that, and then we down selected to the current 18 that we have in the phase 2. And in the phase 2, they get the 3 radar problem that I described, and then in the phase 3, they get this 24 hours to build a 4th radar interface overnight, and then we evaluate everything overnight, and then on day 3, there's this big, huge check that we got that will give somebody the $250,000 out of the 18 companies that we have remaining.
I'm sure for you guys this is a lot of fun, just to see, well, like you said, what comes out of this.
It is a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of times we get stuck in our day-to-day routine of doing the same thing. So this takes us out of our comfort zone that we can learn and interact with different people that we normally wouldn't interact with every day.